Check one, two, check 1, 2, 3. We are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the AfroMattt Show. This is episode number 166. 166. It is a fantastic Thursday. I am a little bit out of it. You might notice during this podcast, if it stops and I return and it's dark out, it's because I went to go take a fat nap. I am being targeted by a laser beam from space directly into my head to make me feel woozy and foggy and tired. It is what it is. That being said, I mean, I haven't read any books, so I don't have a book review to start off this episode. I haven't read a book, but I have finished the first draft of my book. Everyone thinks they know they have a story to tell, and I'm just a man. So, I mean, I have a book. I mean, I'm writing it. I'm sending it to an editor for $500. Awesome. And I mean, I'm honestly, I feel like that's pretty. We negotiated a little bit, and I actually got it down from like 600. So we're chilling. We're chilling right around there at 500. So I'm not upset. She's gonna go over. It is a she. For some reason, every editor I've ever talked to is a she. I did talk to one editor who was a little bit on the wild side, and that was a dude who doesn't have a SIM card. He doesn't have internet, uses no Google products, so it was insane to try to get a hold of him. But our conversation was crazy. Shout out that guy. But yeah, so maybe I'll read a couple excerpts later once it starts getting narrowed down. 6 months. Like at this time, at the end of the year, maybe near December, that's when I think it's going to be completely done, ready to go, ship shape, ready, set, sail. But that being said, I mean, let's just get right into the news portion of this broadcast. The news portion of the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. If this is your first time, we cover the news, and we have a this is the only completely unbiased news channel, and it's the only channel that covers the juicy news. We call it the juicy news. We don't really. I'm just saying that now, but I try to find the stuff in the news that no one's talking about, but should be. So that being said, let's just dive right in. Well, I mean, okay. A moment of silence, because apparently the Iran experts provide insight into the suspected cause of the helicopter crash that killed Iran's president. Now, I have a little bit of a suspicion that it may or may not be connected to the CIA. Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi, Foreign Minister Hossein. Okay, I'm not even going to try that last name. Let's do it just for fun. Amira Bradimlanian. Emirab Dalahian. Amarab Dalahian. Jesus. Can we stop? Can we stop with the long names? Like, how many? Like, what is this? Amirab Dalahian. This is like 6 syllables. Can we stop with the 6-syllable last names worldwide? We had a worldwide crime against humanity to have a 6-syllable last name. Okay. Died in a helicopter crash Sunday. Well, I guess, yeah, maybe we shouldn't be making jokes about a dead man. Although he was Iran's president, so are we pro or are we anti-Iran? I don't know. The helicopter was part of a convoy of 3 helicopters returning from an event inaugurating a joint dam project where it crashed in heavy fog in a remote area on Sunday. The fog and rugged terrain hindered such operations. All 8 bodies on board were found on Monday. Man, they took a bit of a tumble. Well, I mean, it is awkward that I am wearing a Lakers shirt while doing this. That was unplanned and rather unfortunate. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Kobe. I feel insensitive now wearing this shirt. I might swap it. But the only other shirt I have is a I Am Black History shirt. So either way, I don't have many shirts that aren't insensitive. It seems to be a fairly classic mishap that occurs when helicopters try to skirt underneath weather in very mountainous region. Okay, so yeah, maybe the CIA didn't get involved, didn't get their hands on this. So, rest in peace, this guy. Wait. Oh, this is another headline. What? Start here. And Senate Democrat leader Chuck Schumer says that U.S. intelligence right now pointing to Israel was not behind this. So I want to make it clear, Steve, thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so Chuck Schumer, which some people don't know, is related to Amy Schumer, which is one of the strangest connections I've ever seen. Chuck Schumer, the Democrat leader, Chuck Schumer, is related to famous pussy comedian Amy Schumer. Now, do what you will with that. He is pointing out, he wants to make it very clear that Israel was not involved in the taking down of this aircraft. Now, he is not saying that the U.S. was not involved, which is always a little concerning. So, but yeah, a moment of silence for the president of Iran, who I'm sure was elected very professionally. It was probably a cut and dry election, nothing suspicious or malicious involved. We'd like to see that. We always like to see that. I'm sure is there an election nowadays that isn't rigged? Am I right, folks? Am I right, folks at home? The folks at home will get that one. All right, here's another news. In other news. I wanted to breeze past that because it is a president dying, so there's only so much you can really talk about without being, talking about a dead man for about 10 minutes. So,
phone camera in a plane bathroom. One of their former flight attendants apologized. Well, tonight, a major airline is apologizing after saying a 9-year-old girl should have known about a hidden cell phone camera in a plane bathroom. One of their former flight attendants is currently facing federal charges.
So this is American Airlines calls. So American Airlines, and honestly, recently, most of the airlines have been cutting corners. And guys, I'm not going to say the B word, but Boeing, okay? Every time I say Boeing, I expect like 4 operative agents to just bust through my window and just suicide me. I don't even know, unalive me. God, YouTube is a hellscape. Just swoop in, crash through my window, and say, you're not allowed to say anything negative about Boeing. So I don't know if American Airline, it's unrelated to Boeing probably. This was completely unrelated. But there's been a lot of like aircraft news, which we don't cover. We're not an aircraft news channel. But there has been just a lot of aircraft news. So I don't want to get that confused. I want to get conflated with, us being some sort of aircraft news channel. which would be weird. It would be like some autistic trains channel. Let's continue. American Airline said that a 9-year-old girl should have known or should have noticed or should have looked for the hidden camera in the restrooms. I mean, this is why they say if you're in a lawsuit, zip the lips. Because I guarantee you, actually, I think a lawyer actually told them to say this. A troubling discovery last September in a Boston-bound plane received an unexpected response from American Airlines in a legal filing. Okay, so this was in the legal filing. So, I mean, I guess this was a lawyer. In an effort not to be held financially liable for the civil lawsuit in Texas, attorneys for American Airlines appear to blame the 9-year-old girl for allowing herself to be secretly recorded by a flight attendant's phone in an airplane bathroom. Guys, this is awesome. This is great. In order for American Airlines to not be held financially liable in a civil lawsuit, they are blaming a 9-year-old. Do you not realize how truly this is truly evil behavior? This is like, I mean, what is going on? This person's trying to pull a Jay Yoma. This guy has Jay Yoma's defense team. He's trying to get the case dismissed. Guys, she's 9 years old. She should know to look for hidden cameras in bathrooms. Excuse me? American Airlines, how about you find the individual who did this and throw them out of the airplane without a parachute? That would rectify the situation a little, even just a little bit. Throw them out of a moving plane at maximum altitude, so they have a long time to think about their what they've been doing, and a long time to think about their death and their life and process it over and over again before they hit the ground at probably definitely what is that called, terminal velocity. That's what needs to happen. That you don't need to go around blaming a 9-year-old girl for not noticing a hidden camera. First off, I may have been recorded. I don't check for, guys, sorry, I don't check for hidden cameras in every restroom I go to. Why do you expect a 9-year-old? This is one of the craziest defenses. This is evil. In a filing this week, the airline attorneys say that the harm to the child was caused by her own fault and negligence, quote unquote, own fault and negligence, and by her use of compromised lavatory, which she knew or should have known contained visible or illuminated Guys, okay. I'm going to add people to the list to throw out of this plane, and I'm going to add the entire defense team for American Airlines. Instead of taking responsible for this awful event, American Airlines is actually blaming our daughter for being filmed. How in good conscience could they even make such a suggestion? It both shocks us and angers us. American Airlines has no shame. This is the parents in a statement.
There are some new developments in a case of a flight attendant accused of placing a hidden camera in the bathroom of a Boston-bound flight. In a new court filing, attorneys for American Airlines appear to be shifting the blame here to one of the younger victims. But as
shifting the blame to a 9-year-old is a sentence you should never have to say. Can we agree on that? Oh, well, I mean, it wasn't my fault. She should have known there was a camera in there. I mean,
Alicia Palumbo reports the airline is now reversing course.
Oh, good. Oh, nice. Oh, finally. Oh, thank God. Thank God the airlines, American Airlines, one of apparently the most hellish airlines on the planet. I feel like every week something happens on American Airlines. A door rips off. Someone, pisses over your shoulder onto your, onto your laptop table. I don't know what is going on in American Airlines. I don't know if it seems to be the public bus of the sky, like the Greyhound bus of the sky.
Probably remember the photo, a cell phone taped to an airplane toilet seat cover discovered by a 14-year-old girl on a Boston-bound flight in September 2023. 37-year-old flight attendant Estes Thompson III of Charlotte, North.
Yeah, Estes Thompson III. This guy, with a name like that, he's receiving 5 weeks in prison and community service. Estes Thomas III. This guy probably comes from old money. His dad probably knows a couple of lawyers. His dad, his grandpa was probably a lawyer himself, or somewhere, or sold real estate somewhere. This guy is going to be, someone's pulling the strings for him, or everyone cuts ties with him because they're in politics and stuff, and they say that they never knew the kid, and he gets brutally molested in prison. One of two options. Either he pulls a Hunter Biden and I guess is just free. Also, what is going on with Hunter? That brings up a good point. What's going on with Hunter Biden? Because the last I knew, this is the last, we're going back to the last time we saw Hunter Biden. He was doing crack cocaine with an underage prostitute. So, guys, where is he at? What's going on with Hunter? Is he, as far as I know, he's just free and roaming about. So there's like no real punishment if you're the president's son. And there was photographic evidence, I think. I mean, there was like news articles that said compromising photos on his laptops are. So I don't know if he's being. This is besides the point. But we need to have a checkup on what's going on with Hunter Biden. I think he recently did an interview with like Oprah on 60 Minutes or something. Like, he's just out and about, like, bopping around, just having a good life. So this guy could pull kind of a Hunter Biden, just, like, out and about, chilling. Or he could, join a skinhead gang, neo-Nazi situation in prison. We'll see. Well, actually, we probably won't see. He'll probably fade into obscurity. But our outside legal team counsel retained with our insurance company made an error in this filing. Of course, this was an insurance thing. Insurance people are the big... If you work in insurance, you are one step below demon. No, one step above demon. It's like demon, devil, like truly evil. These are people that like eat people, right? And then one step up is like insurance people, claims people, the people that have to look through a file and decide if you get if they're going to pay for your knee replacement. The person putting the big stamp that says accepted or denied on your cancer treatment. Denied. Just putting big stamps. You catch them on a bad day. Maybe their girlfriend broke up with them. Maybe their dog died. Denied. All day long. Fuck everyone. Boom. No one's getting cancer treatment. Oh, you fell and broke your arm? Denied. These people, I imagine, are truly evil. That, or they're not people at all. They're not really even people. Like, this might just be those. Like, this is where I think, like, maybe there are NPCs, because, like, who would actually do that job? Like, that's the guy from Fight Club. His job was to go out to car accidents and see if the insurance was going to pay for it or something. It would see, like, mangled bodies and burnt corpses. It would be like, we don't have to pay for this. It looks like it was his fault. And then he went insane and then started a Fight Club and then blew up everything. So let's continue with the story.
North Carolina was arrested in January after federal authorities allegedly found videos on his phone.
Okay. This is gonna get weird. Okay. Yeah. I mean, what a scumbag. And he probably filmed so many, like, how many people use that bathroom without realizing there's a camera? Like, why are you gonna blame the 9-year-old? Like, why are you going to blame the 9-year-old for not noticing? I'm sure there's, like, probably 10 adults who used that restroom during the flight that all didn't notice it. And just because the 9-year-old's the one who's suing, you're going to blame her. I mean, God, we live in a God, and all for the sake of money. This is the true meaning of money is the root of all evil. This is all for the sake of money. Guys, think about that. Money is an item that's so valuable to some people, they will shift blame onto a 9-year-old for actual sex crimes. Let that sit for a second. There is a figment of our imagination floating out there. Money, cash, zeros and ones and bits being sent across bank accounts. It's fake. First of all, it's fake, but that's just being typed up and sent about and owed to different people, and debts and balances and credits and reds and greens. It's all floating around out there. And though that is a strong enough power to literally twist someone's mental capacity into blaming a 9-year-old for something this horrific, guys, we might be in hell. Might be in hell. Oh God. All right, let's continue with the news. After that jolly segment, we're gonna segue right over into the next cool news segment. Right after this, right after these short messages. Yeah, here's a good one. This one's actually this one is, that last one was a little goofy. This one is straight up justice. This is justice being performed on a day-to-day basis by regular individuals. Millennials are quiet vacationing, quote unquote. So last year we had quiet quitting, where people would just, I guess, stop doing their job until people noticed, which is honestly kind of a pretty funny move. It's just like, how long will it take for people to notice I'm not working? I mean, and honestly, at these massive companies, there are people, like, if I worked at Google right now and got like a temp position, I think I could show up to work, sleep every day, and leave at 5 and not a single soul would notice. Not a single soul. Those places are like clouds, and they just have like a certain amount of people in there, and it just functions with like maybe 5 people actually doing the hard work, like in the division, and like a few people doing half the work, and then a massive portion doing absolutely nothing. And some of these people might not even know what they're doing, like what they are supposed to be doing. It's like, yeah, are you meeting your numbers? It's like, I don't know what numbers I'm supposed to meet. And they're like, well, we'll see next week. Next week we'll check back in. It's like that scene from Seinfeld where Kramer gets a job and he never actually works there. He never actually got the job, but he works there, and they're like, they bring him papers, and he doesn't even know what he's doing. He just sleeps or just chills all day long, and he goes and he starts stressing out. He starts getting ulcers and stuff. It's like, Seinfeld's like, what are you stressed about? You don't work there. He's like, man, this job's driving me crazy, Jerry, this job's driving me crazy. And then Jerry's like, Kramer, you don't work there, you don't have a job. I really can't do accents or anything. Millennials are quiet vacationing rather than asking their boss for PTO, and there's the giant workaround culture. Paid days off from work aren't guaranteed, but for many Americans, paid days off aren't guaranteed for many Americans, but even when they do get them, they're leaving them on the table. A majority, 78% of the U.S. workers say they don't take all their PTO days, and it's highest among Gen Z and millennials, according to, how's that, guys? Gen Z and millennials aren't hardworking. We take the least amount of paid days off, but here's why. Younger professionals say they don't ask for paid time off because they feel the pressure to meet deadlines and be productive, and they get nervous requesting PTO because they don't want to look like a slacker. Okay, interesting. That's not to say that they're not taking breaks. They're just not telling their boss. Well, that is definitely true. Millennials in particular have found workarounds to play hooky. Nearly 4 in 10 say they've taken off time without communicating it to their manager. That's 4 in 10 that's nearly 40% of people say they've taken a vacation without telling their boss. What is that? First off, what does that say about bosses? Bosses, that means that, I mean, what does that say? What does that say? Does that mean 100% of bosses don't notice when you go on vacation? Or does that mean 40% of bosses? I mean, I guess that probably means 100% of bosses will not notice when you go on vacation, guys. Similar shares say that they move their mouse to show they're still active on their company's messaging platforms like Slack and Microsoft Teams when they're not really working. You know, they make tools now that you set your mouse on. Like, this is a whole industry set around slacking off. There's a device that you put on put your mouse in this device, and it captures it in like a little cage, and the bottom of it rotates, so it's always moving your mouse like constantly to the right of your screen, and it's like constantly rotating like a little table underneath it, and your mouse is just in there being slid constantly. That's a whole market. That is a market for items, is slacking off, which I am 100% for. I am for doing the bare minimum. The bare minimum, guys. If you ever find yourself doing more than is requested or required from your position, take a hard look at yourself in the mirror and say, why? Ask yourself, look deep in your eyes and say, why am I doing this? Why am I working this hard? Save a pay stub and keep it in your wallet. And when you have that moment, when you look around, I've had this moment. I used to work at Home Depot. You look around, you're like, am I the only one doing my job? In those moments, you take out your thing, you take out your pay stub. It's probably wrinkled and crumpled because you do this often. You pull it out, you open it up, and you see that number after taxes, and you say, oh, that's right. Everyone here is doing their job at the lowest level. At the lowest level. At the bare minimum where they don't get fired. And that's where I think everyone should live. And then when you ask for a raise, then you do just a little bit more. You know, you do that next step, right? You should never be giving away free labor, because as a working class individual, what you're selling is your life. You are selling your life. I'm sorry to say this, that's what you're selling. And what employers are buying is shares of your life. They're buying a portion of your life. So if you work somewhere for 4 years, they're buying, and you live to 40 years old, God forbid, they bought 10% of your, 40, let's say you live to 50. Let's say, to make the math easy. Say you live to 50. God forbid you live only to 50. And you work at a position for 4 years. They've bought a share of 8% of your life. Right? This is how you have to start thinking about it. And then you say, how valuable is 8% of my entire life? And if right now what you're doing is worth way less than 8%, like the job, then you need to lower your work standards to meet that. This is how you need to start thinking about life. Especially when, guys, I just turned 25. I'm starting to think about my life in terms of chunks. 25 is a major chunk because it's 25. They say people want to live to 100. I don't want to live to 100, but I only have 3 more chunks left. What the time I'm at right now, I only have 3 more of these to go. So this is how you have to start thinking about life in terms of percentages of your life. And this is all saying if you live to 50, God, if you die tomorrow, say I'm 25 and I've given Walmart, God forbid I give Walmart 5 years and I die tomorrow. I've given them 20% of my entire life for minimum wage. Does that sound good, guys? Does that sound good to anyone? Does that sound good to anyone? Giving, I'm going too much into job theory. I call this job theory. I don't know if I invented this, but this is the kind of stuff I think about. We're spiraling. Okay. Millennials are most likely to be quiet vacationing. Nearly 5. Okay, so yeah, they move their mouths. There's a giant workaround culture at play, Rodney says. While Gen Zs tend to stay vocal about workplaces that shame people for wanting to ask, millennials would rather take matters into their own hands. So yeah, they're saying Gen Z just complains. Millennials, they act. They just don't care, which I can respect. They'll figure out how to get appropriate work-life balance, but it's happening behind the scenes. It's not exactly quiet quitting, but it's more like quiet vacationing. Yeah, and you also have to think about the time that you spend at the job in chunks too. So if you spend 8 hours a day and you take a secret 15-minute break every day, then all of a sudden, you start getting hours back. You start sneakily grabbing your own hours back while getting paid for it. Guys, if an employer sees this video, I'm never getting hired, but this is a professional cheat sheet for your success. So that being said, well, let's just move on to the next thing. It is important for you to realize that as long as you're working for someone, you're selling time. And you're selling portions of your life. That's my main thesis on that is if you are not self-employed, the number one thing you have to realize is you are selling portions of your life. You're selling shares of your life and your time. And you have to value that accordingly. If your life is meaningless and you have a really shitty life, those shares could be worth less. Not worth less, but like worth space less than Normal. But that's sad. Nestle. We always like to see a little bit of Nestle news. Nestle, who, correct me if I'm wrong, but Nestle, I think, recently bought an entire lake in Michigan to bottle water. Like, Nestle is one of those companies that's almost like cartoonishly evil. Nestle caters, so this is a new route Nestle's taking. Nestle caters to Ozempic crowd with a line of frozen meals crafted just for GLP-1 users. GLP weight loss drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy, once prescribed only for people managing conditions like diabetes, have hit mainstream. So yeah, if you guys don't know, Ozempic is the new get slim quick, drug out there. It's all about it. I think it just turns off your need to eat. So fat people are using this to just slim up, which is, hey, good for you. All these, but it's absolutely skyrocketed the cost of the drug for people that need it, like that actually have diabetes. But big fatties can get slim, which is we always like to see. We always like to see hardworking fatties getting slim. Everyone's always looking for the that get rich quick scheme, that how to get abs in 15 minutes. We've all done those. We've all done those crunches on our bedroom floors. We've all done those what are they called, where you do the arch and then you like bring your legs up. We've all done those. We've all tried to get abs in 15 minutes, right? These, everyone's looking for a quick way out. Everyone's wrong except for fatties, because now fat people actually have a get skinny quick, and it comes in a little pill called Ozempic. And now Nestle is capitalizing on those Ozempic fatties, and they're saying, hey guys, we're making frozen meals just for you. So let's read on. In order to capitalize on the Ozempic trend, some brands are releasing food lines aimed at those taking the drugs. On Tuesday, Nestle announced its Vital Pursuit line for those using GLP-1s for its weight loss management. In the announcement, the company explained that the 12 frozen meals are portion-controlled, high in fiber and other essential nutrients. As the use of medication to support weight loss continues to rise, we see the opportunity to serve customers. Awesome. We're always keeping an eye out to serve customers. The customer's always right, and we always make money. That's what I like to say. Vital Pursuit offers accessible, great-tasting food options that support the needs of customers in this emerging... guys, I might have just realized I'm reading an ad for Nestle and these items. Like, this might be a PSYOP clickbait ad disguised as an article for this stuff. This is the level at which they operate, by the way. Viral marketing schemes. They probably want this to get picked up on TikTok, which I hope it doesn't. We're leveraging our deep understanding of consumers and nutritional science to stay ahead of the trends that are shaping consumer behaviors and innovating across our portfolio to deliver products people will love. I want to do a deep dive. If I had no job, guys, and all the time in the world, I would do a delicious deep dive into corporate speak, corporatese, and just dissect some of the stuff they're saying, because these words in the order that they're saying them are, they have teams of people that craft these words. There's psychologists and people that do word maps and focus groups. There's whole teams dedicated to crafting these sentences, and they're so perfectly crafted for what they want it to feel like without saying anything too... You can't pin them down. They're kind of loose and slippery, and you know, you can't really get a firm grip on what the sentence is saying. It kind of slips out of your hand. Like, it's just like slimy. You know, these sentences are slimy. Vital Pursuit provides accessible, great tasting food options that support the needs of consumers in this emerging category. We're leveraging our deep understanding of consumers and nutritional science to stay ahead of the trends that are shaping consumer behaviors and innovating across our portfolio to deliver products people will love. Okay. Like, why did you have to say it like that, though? Why? There's no need for it. It is... Guys, food has never been this serious. We're leveraging, we're taking advantage of, we're doing a deep dive, we're doing a paradigm shift on food as you know it. Other brands have already made efforts to capitalize on the era of weight loss drugs. Last month, GNC announced it would add a section to its store with vitamins, supplements, and shakes for people taking GLP-1 medications. The company also announced that in order to better serve its customers, employees would be trained on common side effects of those medications. Oh, great. Great. Guys, I love... We are razor thin between joining and becoming a Wall-E society. Like Wall-E, where everyone's fat and just driving around in go-karts and mopeds and bumping into each other's like it's bumper cars. We are almost there. And guys, I'm not against that, by the way. I'm not against that. Fat people, less shootings. Although if there was a shooting, and guys, I'm never for shootings, right? But if there was a shooting and the person doing it was like some 300-pound dude on a moped, on a mobility scooter, I'm just picturing it now. And I'm laughing just a little bit. I'm picturing him 300 pounds, overalls, some sort of shirt that's covered in like grease and stains, and he's in his moped, and he has, or not moped, his mobility scooter. He's in his scooter, and he has 2 AK-47s. And in one AK-47, he's on the joystick, choosing where he wants to go. And he's just spinning in circles while shooting. And now I'm also getting an image of him being chased down the highway, a high-speed pursuit with a mobility scooter. Oh, man. They do a pit maneuver on a 300-pound man, and it doesn't move. Like, they try to do the pit maneuver on his moped, and it doesn't move because he's so fat. They're like, we need more units. We need more units. They try to box him in, like when they're chasing a motorcycler. Oh God, just someone who's fucking 400 pounds. You see him, he's going 5 miles down the freeway. People are pulled over to the side just watching out their windows. He has 2 AK-47s shooting at all directions, and police are following him at 5 miles per hour. Like, as many police that were chasing, like, O.J. Simpson. Like a parade of police behind him, and it's just a guy who shot up a Buc-ee's, 400 pounds. And get that man some Ozempic. He's on his way to get some Ozempic. Oh man. Oh, that's good. That's good. Oh man, that's funny. That's a good image. I mean, like, and imagine the pictures that they would get, like, from the helicopter, and they have the spotlight, and it's just some 400-pound man on his mobility scooter with 2 AK-47s. Gosh, that's beautiful. God, that's beautiful. All right, we got one more. Oh, yeah, this is actually kind of a good story. Daily cannabis use finally overtakes drinking for the first time in the U.S. So, alcoholism is out, drug use is in. Out with the old, in with the new. We're no longer abusing our children, we are neglecting them. So that's what we like to see. We like to see different generations get different traumas. And I've thought this for a while, but I think that the trauma that you pass skips a generation. So if you got beat by your dad, then you, with that trauma, don't beat your kid. But by not beating your kid grows up and then realizes, well, I should have been beat more, and then he beats his kid. And then the cycle continues. This is the trauma. This is the cycle of trauma. But guys, alcohol is out, weed is in. We are smoking while pregnant. We are fetal alcohol syndrome's out. Fetal weed syndrome is in, and that makes your kid just come out like a cool dude. He comes out with a tie-dye t-shirt and a Monster. And he's just like, yo, man, what's good? What's happening, man? And it's just a chill ass dude. The kid never cries. You've never heard the kid cry because he's too damn chill. He's just too damn chill. He's always getting secondhand smoke. He's had ego death at age 1. He's been greening out. His tolerance is insane. These kids are gonna be so cool. Instead of having a abusive alcoholic parent, they're going to have a neglectful weed distant parent. So I'm happy to see a change of pace, and it'll be very interesting to see how this affects people. The number of Americans who smoke cannabis on a daily or near daily basis now exceeds those who drink alcohol as often. The research published on the Journal of Addiction is based on data collected by the National Survey of Drug Use and Health over 4 decades. In 2022, the survey recorded an estimated 17.7 million daily cannabis users, higher for the first time than its 14.7 million daily drinkers. So about 3 more million people are smoking on a daily basis than drinking. The kind of sad reality of this is if you add those two together, that's how many people are intoxicated on a daily basis. So we have about 3 million people here in America. If you add 17 million to 14 million, you get just about 30 million. So just about 10% of the population is intoxicating themselves on a daily basis, which is fun. Which is always fun. We like to get those little stats that tickle you in the place where you haven't been tickled in a long time. They tickle you, and it makes you question, what's going on? Why are people doing this? Maybe even 10% is low. Maybe we're in a good place. Maybe 10% is where it just kind of chills for a while. And I'm happy for that. For one, I hate weed. Every time I do it, I get paranoid as fuck, and I start seeing things that are not there. And every time I do alcohol, I get ill and start spinning. So I'm really not really in a good place for either of those. It's not to say that I don't, or that I have never. It's just I don't do them. Alcohol still remains more widely used substance of the two. But the study found that between 1992 and 2022, there is a 15-fold increase per capita those who reported nearly, well, I mean, of course. Why is that even news? Cannabis is not, in 1992, you would be hung if you smoked weed. People don't feel as scared to report their, yeah, okay. It's not just 20-year-old potheads in the dorm room anymore. It's, it's your parents. President Joe Biden said far too many lives have been upended because of our failed approach to marijuana. Oh, interesting. Does he know that his vice president is Kamala Harris? Weird. She seemed to upend a lot of people's lives. She put a lot of people in prison. She put so many black people in prison. So people have made a collage of her face with 1,000 photos of people that she's put in prison. All right, let's go to TikTok time, and then I'll bid adieu. All right, here is TikTok time. Oh, I forgot to play the music for TikTok time because that's very important. We run a very tight ship here. There we go. It's a professional broadcast, everyone. All right, TikTok time. Here we go. This first TikTok is... it shows the U.S. Navy, Army using weapons on their boats and planes and stuff. And it shows you how much money it costs. So these are like, you can imagine, so the green number that it's counting is U.S. tax dollars. 36, 41, 59, 72. Ooh, that was a big one. $1,500 per shot for this. Oh, there's another one. Ooh, this one goes freaking fast. So I'm going to try to catch the numbers here as it shoots. 69, 130, 120, 24, 40, 555, 6. This one is way too fast to even count. 2,000. I'll just say when it gets to 1,000. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 6. I just spent 6,000 in less than 1 second. Mr. B, this is the Mr. Beast challenge. He's like, can you spend $50,000 in 5 minutes? This is what I would buy. And I would just shoot all the bullets into the ocean like they're doing here. This reminds me of that. There's this gun that Lockheed Martin made that dispenses 1 million rounds a minute. Oh, 10,000, 12,000, 13,000. Okay, well, this was like a Tomahawk missile. What was this called? Surface. It's called the RIM-116 surface to air missile, and it dispenses 1 bullet, which I assume is some sort of rocket. Cost $900,000 to shoot that. Okay, now this is a real rocket. This might be some sort of missile, and this one is $11.8 million. God knows why they're shooting that off. Probably for shits and gigs. Honestly. Which, can you blame them? If you had a rocket that cost $11 million, would you not shoot it off? I mean, you paid for it. Let me find this gun real quick. Here it is. This is on YouTube. The 1 million round per minute gun. This is what is this gun called? Okay, so they're starting at low. So they're starting low. This one's 600 rounds per minute. This one right here. This next one is 30,000 rounds per minute. Here it goes. So that's an upgrade. Hey, what kind of package do you want? This is us to Israel. What kind of package would you like? Would you like the 600 rounds per minute, the 30,000 rounds per minute, or the 1 million rounds per minute? And then this next one is 60,000 rounds per minute. That was quick. That was like a little fart. Now this one is dispensing 180 rounds at 1 million rounds per minute. I mean, that's just retarded. This next one, 180 rounds at 100 million rounds per minute. This one's my favorite. Oh, this is the impact. Here's the slow motion. This is the slow motion. Okay. But that's fun. It's good to know that they're working on something that's good in nature. That's good-natured, really. All right. I can't. Okay, let's do this one.
I don't give a fuck about Bill Gates, and I don't give a fuck about Elon Musk. They could burn their hair and kiss my motherfucking ass.
I mean, this guy is pretty funny. He's on the side of a highway on his bicycle. Might have been like an impromptu, hey man, what's on your mind?
I don't give a fuck about Bill Gates, and I don't give a fuck about Elon Musk. They could burn in hell and kiss my motherfucking ass.
They can burn in hell and kiss his motherfucking ass. All right. Oh, this is a Jayoma clip. We always love Jayoma.
See the camera?
So this guy that Jayoma is talking to is currently in a orange jumpsuit, which is, this is the first Jayoma clip where I've seen him actually talking to someone who's in prison. Usually he's like, hey man, I got you out, but he's going in and getting people out. He's saying, hey, come on out.
Okay. You can take off your mask. Take off your mask. That's fine. That's fine. All right. So I want to let you know that I spoke to the prosecutor on your case. I spoke to the prosecutor.
Yeah.
Okay? And I was able to avoid you going to jail for prison for 10 years. We're going to give you an extension on your deferred. So you
my probation?
Yes.
Okay.
You'll get an extension.
Okay.
And you'll be getting out today.
Okay.
How do you feel about that? If you can look at the camera.
Smiling.
Who's the best lawyer?
Jayoma.
All right. And would you recommend me to your
There's a lot of like prisoners in the background too.
friends and family?
Oh, 100%. Hey, all y'all go with my homeboy Jayoma, bro.
Hey, man, I know what the fuck going on. Hey, y'all go to Jayoma, man. Y'all know what the fuck going on. All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
He's about to get
All
a
right,
lot of
thanks.
clients.
All right.
Although, if I ever do go to prison, Jayoma's the first call I'm making. Defense prosecutors are important, you know.
No.
Defense attorneys are important because there are people who do like plant evidence and stuff like that. So you do need someone who's going to get your case dismissed. I mean, but sometimes it's a big miss. Sometimes sometimes releasing those people onto the street seems like not the best idea. I wanted to grab this clip because I shit on Subway on the last episode, and I thought this was pretty funny.
I am recanting all of my statements made about the Jimmy John's Sandwiches and Subs franchise. I was not coerced into making this statement after receiving repeated targeted threats of grievous violence directed towards myself or my loved ones. I am in a safe, secure, and comfortable location. The truth is that Jimmy John's offers affordable meal options for millions of everyday Americans. I particularly recommend the Italian nightclub sandwich made with hand-sliced salami, capicola, and smoked ham, topped with Hellman's mayo, fresh sliced lettuce, onions, oil and vinegar, and oregano basil. I would also like to extend my apology to the Exxon Corporation.
Oh, Exxon.
Exxon reached out to me in a friendly, amicable manner and calmly asked me to amend my statements instead of strapping me to a metal chair and sanding down my teeth with a metal file until the pain became too much, and in an act of utter desperation, I agreed to recant my statements. Thank you, Exxon. Thank you for refining 876 million barrels of crude oil per year that hardworking blue-collar Americans like us can funnel down the greedy, gluttonous fuel tubes of our mid-sized sedans. I have nothing but gratitude.
Well, I'm glad that guy's safe and all right. This guy should make another one for, hey, guys, I recant every statement I've ever said about Boeing. I didn't really mean any of it. It was more of a meme, more of a goof, more of a gaffe. So speaking about gaffes, here's Joe Biden with a nice, solid gaffe.
My theology professor at the Catholic school I went to was a guy named Riley, last name, and he had...
Riley last name. Huh. Riley last name, I haven't... It is a creative last name. Changing your last name to trick people. I don't know if that's what Biden's going for here. I think he might just be a little bit lost.
Was a guy named Riley, last name.
How out of it do you have to be to say last name? Like, and it's your own professor. My theology professor from Catholic school that I went to, a guy named Riley last name. You should know that that wasn't your theology professor's name, right? It was your teacher. Teachers, you always say by their last name. Oh, hey, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Marcus, Mr. whatever, you know. You would imagine he would remember saying Mr. or Professor last name. You would remember. I mean, unless this guy's last name was actually last name.
And he had been drafted by the Green Bay Packers.
Okay, well, that's a good way to end that story, and that's a good way to end the podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please share with a friend. We are slowly growing our community of simple gooners. So, if you want to join below, comment. Just comment anything, really. Comment you're looking more athletic and buff today. Matt, tell me that, because I need that right now. Bless up. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.